Hey you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is part two of hidden agendas or hidden messages inside movies. If you haven't watched part one, I'm going to link it down below. Make sure you click on it and watch that video. We were talking about the movie The Wish, which I think was an interesting take on the hidden agenda behind that movie, which is Gnosticism. And Gnosticism is a religion that believes that God, the creator Yahweh, the true and living God, actually is a bad God, and they portray him as evil, and they portrayed Satan or the serpent as good. So it was a very interesting take. If you haven't watched that video already, go ahead and watch it. My name is Stephanie Tremaine. I am a content creator. This is my second official YouTube video. I do have two car chronicles, which also you should watch. Those are just little snippets that I sometimes record in my car, literally called car chronicles for that purpose. Sometimes God gives me a word and then I go ahead and expound on it inside the car. So I have two of those. This is my second official video where I am diving into hidden agendas behind movies. Now, this beautiful content creator, her name is Taylor Alicia. I may be saying her name wrong, but I believe that she is onto something when she talks about these hidden agendas in these movies. The second movie we're talking about is Frozen 2. If you haven't watched it already, this is the continuation of the Frozen series. A lot of people, they had us in the chokeholds. Elsa and her sister, finding out about what, their goals are going to be, overcoming things so they can become queens over the kingdom. Very good movie, I thought. But when I looked at it from the eyes of this content creator and just really compared it, I was in shock. So let's get in and see what she has to say about that.
Number 3, we have Frozen 2. Frozen 2, like Frozen 1, is all about witchcraft, which could be an entire video by itself. But in this movie, who do you think the antagonist is? The evil king, Elsa's grandfather. And what does this evil king hate? He hates magic, which we know how God feels about magic in the Bible.
So I'm going to stop there because the evil king, when I watched this movie, I'm telling you, they did it so well that you did feel like the king was evil. If I remember correctly, these people that did magic, I forget the names of them, but that's actually a descendant of, I believe, Elsa was a descendant of them. Elsa's mom, I think, was part of that kingdom, if I'm not mistaken. And I think, yeah, she saved the dad, and then when the dad came, became a man, they got married, and so now Elsa has these superpowers that come from that kingdom. When I watched the movie, because it was portrayed in such an eloquent way, I thought the king was evil as well because, he was so determined to kill off these people who seemed like they were just, good people who were just happened to have magic, but they were kind. And the king was so bent on, he had no, remorse about setting them up to be destroyed. And supposedly that's how their kingdom had gotten destroyed years before. So it's interesting to see how they really played it out to make that king to be an evil tyrant who was overzealous about destroying that magic and destroying that kingdom so that the people would not be able to use that magic and to infiltrate his kingdom in that way.
Take a look at this scene. Grandfather.
We bring Arendelle's full guard.
But they have given us no reason not to trust them.
The Northuldra follow magic, which means we can never trust them. Magic makes people feel too powerful.
So she has a nice little snippet there that says, also in the same plot in the movie Wish, which we reviewed in the first one. If you haven't watched it already, go back and watch it. It's really interesting. It says the king didn't want anyone to use magic in fear that they would become more powerful than him, making the argument that God doesn't want us to use magic because we won't need him. Now, if you remember in the Bible, the way that Satan originally enticed Adam and Eve is he convinced them this thing about God, that he has some kind of hidden agenda, that he didn't want them to eat of the tree of life. The tree of wisdom, of knowledge of good and evil, because he felt like they would become gods like him, And so this is kind of the same plot. The enemy is using the same type of, snare to get people trapped up in. Now, do I think people are going to watch Frozen and go, oh my gosh, now I'm just going to not like God? No. But I believe that the hidden agendas are there to create an unconscious bias towards God. I could be wrong. This is my theory. It may be an unconscious bias that they're doing towards God. So when people watch it, if they're unknowingly watching it and feeding this thing in, and you see people all the time become fanatics in movies like this because the magic and the magical realism in it and just the characters are very likable, people become very fanatic about it. So I feel like they're susceptible to whatever it is that this hidden agenda is trying to achieve. I don't think it's just a hidden agenda that's just there just in case you find it in a surprise. I believe it's purposely painting this picture of God so that somewhere subconsciously we'll believe that he is, not trustworthy, which is what the first sin originated from. Men didn't trust God. They believed that he was holding something back from them. But let's go back to the movie.
It makes them think they can defy the will of a king.
That is not what magic does.
And throughout this movie, we are watching Elsa trying to, at first, ignore this spirit voice that is talking to her.
I can hear you, but I won't.
This spirit, which we know is associated with all the elements of witchcraft. Here we see it talking to her as she sings the most famous song, Into the Unknown. We see the lyrics. Everyone I've ever loved is here within these walls. I'm sorry, Secret Siren, but I'm blocking out your calls. I'm afraid of what I'm risking if I follow you. What do you want? 'Cause you've been keeping me awake. Are you here to distract me so I make a big mistake? Or are you someone out there who's a little bit like me?
So she wrote this cute little synopsis. It says, sympathy for the devil, that the serpent was trying to help us. So the lyrics that she's saying is, are you a little bit like me? I believe that in a lot of scenarios, Satan is trying to paint himself as the good guy. So he's trying to say, hey, I'm trying to help you. I know this God that you're serving, and this God has a hidden agenda that you don't know about. He's trying to hold this good thing from you. But the Bible tells us that no good thing will God withhold from us. So we can trust him fully, and we can feel confident in our trust in him. But that was just a little snippet that she added.
Who knows deep down, I'm not where I'm meant to be. Then she sings to that same spirit that she was trying to run away from. And she sings, Are You the Way? Are you the way? Guys, who is the way? There is only one way, and that is Yahweh. But we know that the serpent is here trying to get us to go his way. Number 4,
So we look at it and we see that this agenda is really, really clear. That they're trying to paint God out to be this bad guy that has this hidden agenda that is trying to lure men into following him blindly, but secretly he has some kind of plot, that he's trying to trap people into not knowing the other side. It's interesting that she called the song Into the Unknown. And of course, it's a beautiful song. I believe a lot of times, things like that are so beautiful. They sound so lovely that they can't possibly have a hidden agenda, but this definitely does. Let me go ahead and look up the lyrics to Into the Unknown so you guys can see what I see when it comes to that. That movie, I honestly believe that it was just like a very interesting movie. But knowing now what I know, I feel like it is something that at least you can watch it. You may watch this and say, Miss Stephanie, this sounds like you are just into, conspiracy theories. And maybe so. But all right, so the lyrics to Into the Unknown. Now, it's interesting to see how her mind goes from in the beginning where she says, I can hear you, but I won't. So this is somebody who's hearing the pull to go into the unknown, but she doesn't want to hear it. And then it says, some look for trouble while others don't. So she's identifying this unknown voice as trouble. Okay, that's interesting. And then she says, there's 1,000 reasons I should go about my day and ignore your whispers, which I wish would go away. So introduction to the song, she is hearing this voice and she's like, I don't want anything to do with you. I have a lot of reasons why I don't even need to hear you. Okay, and I want to point out that this voice, when you hear it in the movie, is so creepy. I always thought that. I was like, that's a really weird voice, you know, but when they painted it as being good, I was hooked. I said, okay, I understand. Now, the second verse, she says, you're not a voice. You're just a ringing in my ear. And if I heard you, which I don't, spoken for, I fear. So now she's talking to it and she's like, you know, I'm spoken for. What's interesting is Elsa is not married in this movie. So when she says unspoken for, who is she talking about? Like, is she talking about she's already in a relationship with God and this voice she knows isn't God is now speaking to her? It's something to think about. And then she says, everyone I've ever loved is here within these walls. I'm sorry, secret siren, but I'm blocking out your calls. She said, I've had my adventure. I don't need something new. I'm afraid of what I'm risking if I follow you. So now she's gone from I don't even hear you to I'm going to explain to you why I won't hear you. So it's like she's now letting down some guards and going towards this voice. And then she goes into the chorus, into the unknown. The next verse is, what do you want? Because you've been keeping me awake, indicating that this voice is coming to her at night. She says, are you here to distract me so I make a big mistake? So this is, you know, coming from somebody who's hearing this voice and she realized and recognizes to some extent that this voice is not good. And then she says, or are you someone who's out there a little bit like me? Someone out there that's a little bit like me. So now she's identifying with this voice as, oh, you might be like I am. And then she says, or who knows, deep down, I'm not where I meant to be. So now she went from not even hearing it, not wanting anything to do with it, to maybe you are the way, you know? She says, every day is a little harder. I feel my power grow. Don't you know that there's a part of me that longs to go? So now she's went from not even wanting to hear you to now I long to go with you into the unknown. And then she says, are you out there? Do you know me? Can you feel me? Can you show me? So this voice has now convinced her to go into the unknown. I just implore you guys to watch these movies, to, you know, form your own opinion. I'm not trying to push you one way or another. I'm just, you know, telling you my theory and asking you to just look at it for yourselves, form your own opinion. Put your comments down below. Let me know what you think about this. Watch the video. Maybe you've already watched the movie. If you have some comments, let me know. Maybe you have some more movies that you have watched and you're like, oh yeah, this one lines up with that, you know, too. I would love to hear from you. Make sure you guys take the time to like the video, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you guys can get notifications every time I come on. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am Stephanie Tremaine. I appreciate you. I hope to see you soon. Good night.